on, guys. So we're here with Martin today, one of our clients who's going to kind of share a bit about his journey so far. We're going to talk about kind of what he's been doing, why he's done it, and how he's got on. Okay, got some really good results. So just talk to me about kind of what you were doing before you came to Brightside and why you felt you needed a bit of extra help.
What was I doing? I was eating a lot and not exercising as much as I should have been.
Okay.
And I needed a kickstart.
What sort of things have you tried before you came to us?
What did I try? I went down the gym. Obviously, I trained, but I didn't get results I wanted. I wasn't training properly. My form wasn't great.
When you say training properly, what?
I wasn't training. I had different people that I was talking to, and that I trained with. And of course, there's a million things going in your head. You want to try this, try that, try that, and you think that's going to work. And if that doesn't work, you stop. You try something. You know, nothing was ever working properly for me.
Just kind of like consistency.
Yeah, I wasn't consistent in my training, and I needed a kickstart. I needed to get definitive answers to what I was doing wrong, why I wasn't getting the results. Obviously, a lot of it's diet. I knew that, and things like that. You know, that's part of it. But
because when you came into us, you know, you'd lost a bit of weight and then put it back on.
I've gone up and down in weight over the years, but I was running and training, did a lot more running, but I'd put a load of weight on, especially just after Christmas, and I was just getting fed up and just always doing it. I knew I could lose a little bit, but I wanted to get it off and just keep it off and try and get some training goals and do something, and this was one of the things I thought would actually help.
Okay, so you just kind of came in for that extra bit of a push.
Yeah, I just needed to get a little bit of guidance, proper guidance.
Okay, so
you know
those couple of years that you spent training, although
yeah,
got some
they
results.
were. I mean, I got some results. Don't get me wrong. I did get a little bit stronger. I could lift heavier, and you know, it went up and down. I got a little bit of an injury, but I wasn't getting. It wasn't quite right.
Yeah. Okay.
For me.
And there was a lot of running involved as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, I've always run, but I haven't been. I wasn't like skinny when I ran. I've always been, you know, quite a big guy, but I just wanted to enjoy it more.
Okay.
As I'm getting older, obviously metabolism, things change.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be regretting that I hadn't tried to train when I was still pretty able and quite fit.
Okay, cool. So talk to us about what you've kind of learned in the past 8 weeks. You've been with us 8 weeks now.
I've just learned not to. I've learned how to stretch.
Okay.
In between exercises, which I never did. You know, just little things, little tweaks.
Yeah.
The HIIT training, I'd heard about HIIT, but I'd never really done it. It is great. It works.
Has that been the big difference for you in your
For
training?
me, yeah, the intensity of the reps. You know, a lot of reps for me was like 10, maybe 12 reps, not 20, 25 in that pyramid up and down. And the variation, you know, because I would train at home, or if I did train, I would do the same things. I never varied enough of the workout, and of course you get bored. I won't bother, but the variation I like.
Just kind of, has that brought back your enjoyment training?
Yeah, I don't want to miss training. Obviously, there is the added incentive that I'm paying for it, but I don't think about that. I just don't want to not train. Yeah, I don't want to train. You know, I don't want to miss a training session. I want to make sure I'm always training, even if I don't train. Like say, I do train 3 times a week, but you know, the traditional Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I might train on a Saturday instead of the Friday. But I don't want to miss it. I'm never going to miss it. And I did an extra session last week. Just because, you know, that I have got a bit of energy, which I needed.
Awesome, yeah. So, what are you happiest with since you've been in here?
I don't know, what am I happiest with? Generally, just happy with training and training again. There are slight results. Obviously, I've lost quite a lot of weight. And I've been eating properly, but, you know, I've said to you, I've gone out for a meal, I've had this at the odd occasion in the 8 weeks, not every weekend, or I've had family things and stuff, and it hasn't impacted me. I don't have to worry about what I eat and feel guilty about, I've had a big blowout, I might as well just carry on eating because I've you know, I know that with the training, intensity of the training, and how good it is, I know that I don't have to worry about it.
Have you thought like kind of the food diaries and stuff that we do?
Yeah, that
helped you.
That helps. That keeps you a little bit. You know, I sort of did a thing with the swimming world years ago where you had to write everything down anyway. So I quite like having things structure.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to have that,
Cool.
and it gives me an idea. I like doing my food prep. I've done it a little bit before, but not like this. So things like that have just improved. Cooking and things like that. I always cooked a lot anyway, but that was never a problem. It was just I was eating the good, but I was eating a lot of bad, and I was eating, more bad than good, and I was just overdoing it. Really. I don't need to. I can still have good things.
Yeah, I mean,
still do those things.
I think you've struck that balance quite well since you.
Yeah, it's getting there now. It's like I say, it's not having to limit yourself. Think, I can't have that because I'm on a program. I'm doing this, but you can do both. You can. You just got to just be set. You can't see it at the beginning. I didn't see it at the beginning when I started 8 weeks ago because I weighed myself and I knew I told you I hadn't weighed myself for weeks and I was expected to be heavy, but when I knew I was that heavy, it's like I just can't see me getting this off or getting any weight off or changing. But if you're training and enjoying it, you don't think about it, you just get on with it and do it. Before you know it, you don't bang, that's 2 stone off. It's like, oh well,
Yeah, I mean, you're 3 pounds shy of being 2.
Yeah, it was nearly
8 weeks.
2 stone in 8 weeks. So
big result.
So yeah, it's not obviously it's not just diet; it's the exercise, it's the structure that helps me.
Nice. So you've been working on here, which we touched on. And your own stuff at home, how have you found doing that?
Yeah, good. I'd like to say to you, I've got a whiteboard, I've got my own gym at home that I wanted to use. I say gym, my garage, it's got a lot of equipment in it. And I like that. I look forward to, just changed it again for the 3rd one. So I'm looking forward to doing that for the next 3 or 4 weeks, and yeah, it's good for me. It's good. It's the variation, I think, is key. I think you really have to change things up.
Brilliant. So, you're happy overall. You've come a long way so far. 2 stone off.
Yeah.
Dropped a lot of inches overall as well.
Yeah, they're coming off slowly but surely. I think there's a bit more room for improvement, but I'm not negative about anything.
What's the next step for you? Do you think?
Well, after I've done this,
the next goal.
Well, the next goal would be
share everyone else.
The next goal would be to, obviously I'm losing the weight, is to get a bit more shape and get a bit more mass. Just not big. I don't want to, I'm not going to be shredded or ripped because I don't. But I would like to just be a little bit leaner, and cut the body fat out a little bit more. It's all very well you can lose weight and look better, but you can still have a bit of a wobble,
Yeah.
And that the blokes like, obviously it's that the love handles and things like that. So they're going, but it would be nice to just, get a bit more shape and definition and onto the next level. If possible, I'm sure it is possible. I used to doubt that it was because I got to that certain point where I wouldn't do it, but yeah, the next stage would be.
You're feeling good now about pushing on and
definitely,
progressing.
Definitely, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Definitely.
To Kiran now, obviously sharing his story. Really good kind of transformation so far. Really putting in the effort. But I'm going to let him kind of share what's gone on and why he's been working with us and how he's felt about the whole process. All right. So if you could just share again, obviously what you've been doing, what you were doing before you came to us. What kind of happened, because your story is quite a good one. Everyone's got their story, everyone's got their own way of being inspired, but I think yours, in terms of illnesses and having to battle through a lot, you've been through a lot, but you pulled out of it. And you've been sharing on Facebook with some of your friends, you're feeling pretty good now, in real good health. So if you could kind of just share with everyone, what you've gone through before you came to us.
Yeah. Okay. So I've had 2 kidney transplants in the last 19, 20 years. The first one was when I was about 12, and it didn't really take too well to begin with, and that was through secondary school sort of stage, but it was tough. And I had a lot of problems with it towards the end of it as well. Like I had a tumour and lymphoma towards the end of that, and it got to about 9 years before that failed. And then I had to go back on dialysis for a bit. So I say for a bit, it was about 4 years, 4.5 years. And then I got put back on the transplant list, and then had my latest transplant, which is what I've got now, back in 2011, April 2011. Okay. So it's coming up to the 6th year I've had it now. And I never knew how ill I was until I had this kidney. So it kind of changed my life forever. Food tasted different. I had energy. The colours of my eyes changed. Everything changed.
So it's kind of one of those things you learn to deal with because you've gone on with it so long.
Yeah, you kind of just adapt basically to what's happening, and you kind of, like I've been saying, like on Facebook and stuff, is that you don't look ill, but you are.
Yeah.
And you suffer but you don't let anybody else know that, because you have to get on with it, because what is the alternative? So you just get on with it, really. And then I promised myself once if I had another chance at it, which I got, that I wasn't going to waste it. So when I first had it, I started training back then and going to the gym like 3-4 times a week.
Control that core, Karen, well done.
I wasn't training properly because I had no guidance. So I was doing what I thought was right, and I wasn't pushing myself hard enough. And I guess that's because you always got in the back of your mind, you don't want to, have any kind of, jeopardise what you've had done, with surgery and stuff like that. You don't want to have a hernia or rip any scar tissue or even damage the kidney itself, because the kidney's in the front and it's not protected by the ribs. So it's quite exposed, and you need to be careful with, can't do contact sports or anything like that. It's too risky.
There's a lot of stuff you need to be careful with, but there's also the added mental block sometimes, which you need to kind of be understand and kind of be coached on how to overcome that and have that confidence in what you're doing is right.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't have that, and I kind of slacked off after about a year, and kind of, I thought I was in a decent enough shape anyway. But then, as the years went on, just kind of eating more things that that I could actually enjoy, where I didn't before. Everything used to taste bland and the same. My taste buds had changed, and I was enjoying things I never enjoyed before when I was eating. But a lot of it was junk food.
Okay, yeah, of course.
And I was in a bad place with it. It's the easy option, especially when, after I got well enough, moved out, started doing my own thing, and then, but then you get lazy, and then you start to, if you're working late, it's easier to just pick something up on the way home, or if you, not got anything in, you can't be bothered to go out to the shop.
It's that transition, isn't it? So you've gone through a lot of changes with your illnesses and things like that, and the kidney transplants.
Yeah.
And then it's that other change from going from living at home to then moving out and being responsible to yourself, which then the whole element of cooking for yourself, being organised and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that is another barrier, isn't it? That's another
exactly
something you need to adapt to. So what's now changed for you kind of with food before? So we've had some conversations about like pizzas and trigger foods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which everyone's got, and as I shared with you, my big one's pizza. But what's changed for you kind of before then, where you were having those treats and maybe going overkill on it, and what would you do now? And what would be your kind of advice from what you've learned from people?
Now I kind of, another thing to mention though before was I was drinking a lot as well.
Okay.
And not in a I'm an alcoholic sort of way, but in a kind of I'm bored and I've got nothing else to do sort of way. So it's easy to have a couple of beers here and there, and then that would just, escalate into more and more. And it got to the point where I thought I can't do that in my situation, and also anyone's situation. It's not really the best thing to do to be drinking, 4 or 5 nights in the week, and not heavily, but 1 or 2 beers a day is still quite a lot.
Yeah.
And even, probably, just as bad as binging. So I didn't, I suddenly just thought, after I had a breakdown in my relationship and moved home and everything, I started drinking at home and stuff, and then it got to the point where I was struggling to have any sort of energy at all. Running up the stairs was an effort. I was getting a bit chubbier in the face, and my friends were making jokes about it. They don't mean it in a nasty way, but
it's just the fact that it always kind of hits home harder than people realise, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it gets to the point where actually this has been mentioned quite a lot, and then I just suddenly woke up one day and thought, actually, there is a problem here, and I need to fix it. And it happened just before Christmas, and I thought to myself, everyone does the whole New Year, New Me stuff, and it was about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before Christmas, and I thought, why am I waiting for the New Year? What's stopping me do it now? And the way I thought about it is that if I can get through Christmas, which is a massive time for anyone to start binge eating and drinking loads of alcohol and stuff, if I can get through that, I reckon I can make it through anything. So I thought that is the challenge I'm going to set myself, and that's what I did.
It's a great mindset to have on it as well, because then I think from those couple of weeks that you did come in before, because it wasn't too long, we had about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks before Christmas that we worked together.
Yeah.
But with that time, we were able to set some really good habits, which has then led into January being a lot of a smooth process rather than being a big change and then fall off the bandwagon in 2 to 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
I think is that fair to say that those habits have continued that you adapted before Christmas to just give you a chance to settle?
Yeah. I went at it at first quite hard, so I would follow it completely by book, and I wasn't treating myself. I wasn't drinking. I've still cut out caffeine now after 10 weeks almost, but I've started to slowly, ease in treats. But whereas before, go back to what you were saying earlier, what's changed between now and then is that then I would just, have takeaways regularly, not thinking about, I've had one last night or I had one a few days ago. Now I've if I haven't really had any takeaways as such, I've eaten out and gone to had meals in restaurants and things, but not when I go out, I have a mixture of something that's a treat, but I then substitute other bits which I think actually I can live without. So instead of chips, I'll have sweet potato.
Yeah.
I'll have a bit more veg rather than onion rings or sides or stuff like that. And not to say that I'm trying to cut that out forever, but if I don't, if I don't fancy it, or I'm just eating it for the sake of it being on that plate, then I won't have it, and I will substitute it. And I know I shouldn't feel guilty for having treats, but I'm in the mindset now that if I have it, then I know that I have to make an effort to keep it off. If you know what I mean, take it off when I go. Come here.
That option is there to have it, and it's about having that balance. I think now.
Yeah.
You're having treats. You've been to McDonald's, Nando's, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Within the conjunction of this plan, it's not hindered the progress that you've made.
Yeah.
Just talk to me about now. You've spoken about your change with food, and we've had obviously some great change with your training.
Yeah.
But what's happened with your mindset since starting this, and being 10 weeks into it now? What's happened with your mindset?
It's completely changed my mindset. Before, like I say, I'm not afraid to say that I got lazy, and I got to a point where I just didn't care, basically. But
didn't care about being overweight or the drink, or
well, just about having treats and things, because I grew up not having anything like that because I didn't enjoy it, and I'd be fussy with food. And I'm now at a point where I think, everything's changed for me because of my treatment and stuff with the transplant and everything. So I wanted to enjoy it, but I've let it go too far. And you can enjoy things, but you can also have a bit of moderation with it, where you can stay in shape and have energy and stuff. I didn't have any. So basically, my mind is now focused, and because I'm training myself physically, it's made my emotional and mental state a lot stronger, because I wasn't in a great place, quite down, quite, I wouldn't say depressed, but I wasn't in a great place.
You say you didn't feel like your normal self where you were unhappy and.
I don't think No, I don't think so. I don't think I would. I'd still do things. I wouldn't shut myself away. I'd go out and things. But I think I was enjoying things too much and not thinking about the consequences of it, like drinking too much. I don't drink to get drunk. I was drinking because I enjoyed it, but I wasn't thinking that actually how much am I drinking.
Yeah. Have you had a drink since you've been on this program? Because obviously you've already spoken about that.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've had a few beers, a couple of weeks. Well, I'll say a couple of weekends ago, about a month ago now. And I had a couple of spirits on Christmas Day and a couple of spirits on New Year's Eve, but that is it.
So yeah, it's just really the moderation that you hit home on there, and that's made a big change for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So overall, what's your kind of biggest takeaway from this process so far? Obviously, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
But what do you say kind of the main thing that you've learned in this past 10 weeks at the moment?
I've learned that, no matter what you've been through, no matter what situation you're in, that your body is capable of anything. And I know there are some people, and that have certain things that they've had done to them and stuff where they are physically incapable of doing things, and that is that's fair enough. But for someone like me I've had a lot of major surgery, I've had a lot of minor surgery, and I would always use it as an excuse, like with my arm, for example, if I've had a fistula in there, and like obviously I've had a lot of surgery there, and I'd worry about that bursting where it's been tied off and things like that. And basically, if it's done in the right way, which is why I came here to get the guidance, there's no stopping you really. There's always a way around. There's always another way, a way around what you think is stopping you from doing it.
Definitely.
And I've kind of embraced that, and I've not been, it's not an effort for me to come here. I enjoy coming here, and I enjoy now going to the gym on my own outside of these sessions, and I look forward to it. And sometimes I can't wait to go, especially if I'm having a bit of a rough day at work or home or whatever, and I think I really can't wait to get there and then just, smash some of this frustration out. And it makes me feel better in the long run. So it's changed my life.
That's amazing, mate. That's great to hear. What was, you mentioned there with training that you're enjoying it now.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest difference is between what you were doing before you came in to work with us and what you are doing now and what you've taken away from it?
I'm getting results. Now I'm getting
literally
results.
Just that simple, just getting results.
That's made it getting results. Because before I was doing it and I was enjoying it at first, but then nothing was happening over weeks, months, and then it's because I wasn't training in the right way. I was just doing things comfortably, and you don't get results unless you come out of here feeling like you're absolutely broken, but not in the way that
broken in the positive way, right?
Yeah, in the positive way.
Yeah.
Like not in the way that I can't move, because like Martin was saying, is stretching is a massive thing, and I wasn't stretching properly before, and I know that now because I'm stretching properly now.
Yeah.
And you can put me on weights, move me around and running and cycling and rowing and everything, and before I'd wake up the next day and I can't walk, and now I can jump out of it and it's fine.
So you feel broken that night before for like an hour, and then it's
or
you just got home and
literally go home, have a shower, feel great.
Awesome.
It's just, it wakes you up, and that's it.
Brilliant. Nice. Well, thank you for sharing.
No worries.